CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
A former deputy commanding officer at a Victoria Military Cadet Corps has been sentenced to 1 year in prison and is banned from the military for sexually abusing 2 teenage cadets. 26-year-old Daniel Moriarty was found guilty by a military court last October for sexual exploitation, sexual assault and sexual interference of a 15-year-old boy and a 16-year-old girl at the Vernon Army Camp. Incidents with the 2 victims were separate. The military judge says he took advantage of the vulnerable cadets while he was trusted to be their leader. Moriarty has also been demoted in rank from captain to second lieutenant. The rash of pedestrian accidents claimed more victims in Greater Victoria last night. 3 more people hit and injured, though not as seriously as first thought, within the span of an hour. Those accidents came after a 51-year-old man suffered life-threatening injuries when he was hit in a marked crosswalk yesterday. A 75-year-old woman died in the hospital last week after she was hit while crossing Douglas near Discovery. ICBC wants drivers and pedestrians, especially at this time of year, to use extra caution.
Probably the most important thing is don't make any assumptions about what the driver is going to do or not do. For example, if you see a driver slowing down at a crosswalk, don't assume they're actually going to stop. One of the things we're finding is when people are using mobile devices, they tend to slow down. It's kind of a reflex reaction that they're not even aware of. It doesn't mean they're going to stop. They're actually being more distracted. So you're in more danger when you see a vehicle slowing down without an intention to stop.
ICBC says the numbers bear it out. The number of pedestrians hit across the province goes up 80% in November and December compared to July and August. Crews are now cleaning up in Nanaimo after that windstorm that blew through yesterday. Strong winds tore through Westwood Lake Park, bringing down at least 15 trees. That was a sound you heard a lot of today. The city had to shut down access to the park early yesterday over fears that a falling tree might hit somebody on the walking trails. The city's parks manager says he can't remember the last time that Westwood Lake had to be closed, but said it had to be done yesterday because the risk was just too great.
So it was on the air of caution that we decided to close the park down until our guys and gals could get into the park safely and see what kind of damage was on the trails or anything that needed to be taken care of before the public went back in themselves.
Well, the park and the trails were open again at 8 o'clock this morning, and crews were at work trying to quickly clean up the fallen trees. And it was expected that BC Hydro would have all of the power that was out restored by this afternoon. Victoria General Hospital has opened a new room in its pediatric ward for children who are undergoing cancer treatment. The Pediatric Oncology Isolation Room is designed for children who are being treated for cancer and have low immune systems. It helps protect them from infection. The room also opens up to the ward, opens up the ward to allow more children to undergo treatment.
One time I came in and I had shingles, and they didn't know where to put me. They just put me in this room where there was no equipment, and so, yeah, this is a great room for those kind of things.
Seeing this come to life and knowing that other kids are going to be taken better care of, it does give me a sigh of relief, because ultimately that's what our children deserve, the best care possible.
Vic General treats 90% of children on Vancouver Island and about 24 kids with cancer every year. The new room costs $135,000. $121,000 of that was raised by the community, parents and families of children living with cancer, and the Victoria Hospitals Foundation. Well, Beacon Hill Park showed off some new swings and spinners and sandboxes today, all part of the new playground on Cook Street. And the kids couldn't wait. The City of Victoria, Kids Sport Greater Victoria, and Ronald McDonald House Charities funded the new park, which includes equipment for kids between the ages of 18 months and 12 years. A 9-piece fitness circuit was built next to the kids' playground so the parents can get a workout in too. The city says the aging playground needed a safety upgrade, and this was an opportunity to encourage people and their kids to get outside.
You know, really, in the end, it's the quality of life that makes Victoria so special, and it's the parks that make up our city that really contribute to that quality of life. So we're excited to be here as part of the end of our 150th celebration. This is the project that marks that.
Beacon Hill's outdoor fitness circuit is the first to be built at a City of Victoria park. The city plans to invest $240,000 on more of these outdoor fitness circuits. And the Ministry of Community, Sport and Cultural Development will fund 80% of the program cost. The second circuit will be built at Central Park early next year. Well, Well, people in Victoria had a chance to take the helm of BC Ferries today, at least temporarily. They sat down with Ferries executives to share their thoughts on how the company should set sail into the future. The capital is the latest stop on BC Ferries' community consultation tour. Ferries needs to cut $26 million from its budget over the next 4 years and wants input from you where to start, service levels, fares, and what route to follow moving forward. Concerned riders and politicians alike showed up to give the government consultants their 2 cents worth.
Well, I'm concerned as a taxpayer. I see the hole that BC Ferries have dug for themselves, and it concerns me.
Many of these communities are ferry dependent. Their very economies depend on goods and services coming in and out. So I think there's been a great deal of concern about what the future for BC Ferries holds.
Despite the major routes being the ferry service's only real moneymakers, sailings between Vancouver Island and the mainland have already been cut. There is still an opportunity for you to have your say. A public open house is set to begin at the Grand Pacific Hotel in about 20 minutes. It runs from 6 till 9 tonight. For information on these community consultations, visit coastalferriesengagement.ca. And get ready for further improvements at Victoria International Airport. YYJ is lifting off on an $8 million project to spruce up the terminal, and it will include a local Victoria favorite. Victoria's Spinnaker's Brew Pub will open an outlet at the airport in the summer, taking over part of the lower passenger departure lounge to serve food and beer to passengers who have made their way through security. The Victoria International Airport Authority says it will also add more retailers to the terminal. Work on the project began today. It should be complete in about 18 months. Well, the debate over journalistic ethics doesn't always grab the public's attention, but it has in New York over a chilling photo on the front page of the New York Post newspaper. The photo shows a man who is desperately trying to get out of the path of an oncoming subway train. The 58-year-old man was pushed onto the tracks and was killed seconds later. The tabloid paper ran the photo, taken by a freelance photographer, with the headline, "Doomed, this man is about to die." The paper has been flooded with complaints over its decision to publish the photograph. Meantime, police have released video of a suspect they arrested today who was arguing with the victims moments before the horrifying accident. Police say witnesses saw the suspect get into the argument with the victim, then push him onto the tracks. That man has now been charged with murder. RCMP in Surrey have released video of a hit and run that badly injured 2 women who were out jogging. We want to warn you that the video is disturbing. The women were crossing an intersection in Surrey when a white vehicle slammed into them. Seconds later, the video shows someone looking at the woman, then taking off. One of the joggers suffered fractures to her face, but she's now speaking publicly while her friend remains in the hospital.
We were close to the sidewalk, and then Shelley came flying at me, and I did a face plant. And then she was on the ground and moving.
The 2 women were in a crosswalk. They were wearing reflective clothing and even had headlamps. Police are urging the driver to come forward. If you have any information on this incident, you're asked to contact Surrey RCMP or your nearest police.